The only light in his eyes is the glow of his smartphone. It's a ghostly, cold, blue, reflecting none of the warm, candlelit dinner in front of him. His family is right there. A wife who dressed up, not for a big occasion, but just for him. A daughter who's been practicing a secret just for him. They're inches away, but he's 1,000 miles gone. Lost in the digital hum of a world that promises success but demands a sacrifice he doesn't even see he's making. He thinks he's building them a kingdom, laying down bricks of gold with every email and every late-night call. He doesn't see the foundation cracking beneath them, that the walls of his own home are crumbling. He believes he's the provider, the hero of this story. He doesn't understand that in his quest to give them everything, he's taking away the one thing they truly need, him. This isn't a story about a bad man. It's a story about a good man who has lost his way, caught in the most dangerous, most common, and most destructive story arc of our time, the one that quietly, methodically, destroys families from the inside out. The clink of a fork against a ceramic plate sounds too loud in the silence. Sarah watches her husband, David. He hasn't looked up in 10 minutes. His thumb scrolls, his brow is furrowed, his jaw is tight. He's physically at the head of the dining table, a king in his castle. But his mind is somewhere else entirely, in a boardroom, on a conference call, lost in a spreadsheet of projections and quarterly earnings. David, she says, her voice soft, almost hesitant, like she's afraid to break a spell she doesn't understand. He doesn't hear her. Their 8-year-old daughter, Lily, pushes a small, crayon-decorated card across the tablecloth. It slides to a stop right beside his plate of untouched steak. "Daddy," she whispers, her voice filled with a child's desperate hope. "I made this for you." He glances up, his eyes taking a second to focus on the room. "Oh, that's nice, sweetie." He gives the card a quick pat, but his gaze is already drifting back to the lethal blue glow of his phone. He hasn't even read it. Sarah's heart plummets. It's their anniversary. Not a huge milestone, just another year. But it's their year. She'd spent the afternoon cooking his favorite meal. She'd put on the dress he'd bought her for her birthday. She'd told Lily they were having a special mommy, daddy, and Lily night. But there are 4 beings at this table: mommy, Lily, daddy, and his job. And his job is winning. The phone buzzes, a harsh, demanding sound. David's focus snaps to it completely. He stands, his chair scraping against the hardwood floor. "Sorry, I have to take this. It's important." Sarah looks at the perfectly cooked steak, the flickering candles, the hopeful, now crumpling face of her daughter. "David, everything is important," she says, the words barely a breath. But he's already walking away, his voice dropping into the urgent, professional tone he saves for multi-million-dollar deals, leaving his multi-million-dollar family to eat in silence. She looks at her daughter, and in Lily's eyes, she sees a reflection of her own heartbreak. The arc has begun. The dining room was supposed to be their sanctuary. It was the one room Sarah had insisted on when they bought the house. "A place for us," she'd said. "No TV, just family." Now, it felt like a waiting room, a beautifully decorated, miserably quiet room where she and Lily waited for David to finish being important somewhere else. He comes back a few minutes later, slipping the phone into his pocket, but its presence lingers like a ghost. He picks up his fork, but his energy is still with the call. "Everything okay?" Sarah asks, the question a tired old script. "Just a fire with the marketing team for the Q4 launch. They're panicking. Standard stuff." He cuts a piece of steak, his movements mechanical. He's eating, but he isn't tasting. Well, Sarah tries, forcing a brightness into her voice she doesn't feel. "Lily has some exciting news. Don't you, sweetie?" Lily, who had been listlessly pushing a green bean around her plate, looks up, her eyes brightening. "Yes, Daddy, guess what? I got the solo." David blinks. "Solo? What solo?" "For the recital, the big one. Mrs. Davison said I have the clearest voice in the whole class and she wants me to sing the opening song. All by myself." Lily's excitement is a fragile, beautiful thing. She looks at him with wide, expectant eyes, waiting for his validation to make it real. "Wow," David says, managing a half smile. That's fantastic, Lily. Really great." His phone buzzes again, a text this time. His eyes flicker down to his lap. Sarah sees the shift, that tiny, almost invisible transfer of his attention. The light in Lily's eyes dims. "She's going to sing tomorrow," Sarah adds quickly, trying to pull him back. "From Annie, we've been practicing every night. She's so good. David, you'd be so proud." "I am proud," he says, his gaze still fixed on the screen in his lap as he types a reply with one thumb under the table. "Of course, I'm proud." The words are hollow, an automated response. He's physically here, but emotionally absent, a condition that has become the new normal for their family. Lily's shoulders slump. She picks up her fork and stabs the green bean. "It's okay, Mommy. It's not a big deal." But it is a big deal. Sarah feels a familiar ache spread through her chest, a mix of frustration, loneliness, and a profound sadness. It's the pain of watching her daughter learn, at 8 years old, that she has to compete for her own father's attention. This is how a child learns the devastating lesson that they aren't important enough. A feeling that can leave invisible scars for a lifetime. It is a very big deal, Sarah says firmly, looking straight at David. Your daughter has a solo in the biggest recital of the year. This is a moment. David, can you please put the phone away for 10 minutes so we can have this moment? David sighs, a gust of put-upon frustration. He places the phone face down on the table, a gesture that feels more aggressive than just holding it. It sits there between them, a black mirror, a silent promise of more important things to come. Fine, it's away. He looks at Lily. So, a solo. That's great. When is it? Next Friday, Lily says, her voice small again. Next Friday. David's brow furrows, thinking for the first time. Oh, honey, I don't know. That's the end of the quarter. I have the big presentation in New York that day. I'm not sure I can make it. The bottom drops out of Sarah's stomach. She knew it was coming. The scheduling conflict, the unavoidable commitment. The hierarchy where family was always, inevitably, at the bottom. You can't make it? Lily's voice trembles. But I wanted you to see me. I know, sweetie, and I'm sorry. But this presentation is huge. It's for us. He looks at Sarah, his eyes pleading for her to be his ally. This is the deal that will set us up for the next 5 years. It means we can finally redo the kitchen. It means that trip to Italy you've always wanted. I'm doing all this for us, Saren. Don't you understand the sacrifices I'm making? There it is. The shield for his absence. The justification that frames his neglect as love. The provider mentality, where success at work is the ultimate expression of family devotion. He genuinely believes it. He believes the money he earns is a direct substitute for the time he doesn't spend. That the security he provides is a fair trade for the connection he withholds. Sarah looks at her daughter, whose face is now a mask of quiet devastation. Lily isn't thinking about a new kitchen or Italy. She's thinking about standing on a stage, under bright lights, looking out into a sea of faces for the one that matters most, and finding it empty. She doesn't need a new kitchen, David, Sarah says, her voice dangerously low. She needs a father. The words hang in the air, heavy and sharp. David recoils as if he's been struck. His face hardens. That's not fair, he says, his voice cold. Everything I do is for this family. Is it? Sarah challenges, her own anger starting to simmer. Or is it for the thrill of the deal? For your boss's approval? For the feeling of being important? Because from where I'm sitting, this family comes in a distant second to your job. The phone on the table buzzes again. Then again, a rapid-fire succession of notifications. David's eyes dart towards it, an involuntary reflex. He's an addict, and the phone is his drug. He clenches his jaw. I don't have time for this. He pushes his chair back. I have to work. You know the thing that pays for this house? This food? The roof over your head? He grabs his phone and walks out, heading for the sterile quiet of his home office. The door clicks shut behind him, a sound of finality. Sarah and Lily are left alone in the warm candlelight. Their anniversary dinner, now a funeral for a family moment. Lily looks at the crayon-covered card next to her father's plate. She slowly reaches out, picks it up, and tears it in half. The sound of ripping paper is the only sound that matters. It's the sound of a promise breaking. The sound of a heart giving up. Sarah reaches across the table and takes her daughter's hand. She wants to say something, to fix it, to promise. It will all be okay. But the words won't come. Because she knows this isn't a single event. It's a pattern, an arc, a slow, steady erosion of their family. One important phone call at a time, and she is terrified of where it's leading. If this feels familiar, if you've ever felt like you're competing for the attention of someone you love, or if you've been the one who struggles to disconnect, you're not alone. This story is playing out in millions of homes every single day. Let us know in the comments if you've ever experienced this. And consider subscribing for more stories that explore the complexities of modern family life. Your story matters, and sharing it helps. Let's all understand we're in this together. The days after the anniversary dinner were a masterclass in avoidance. David buried himself in work with a renewed ferocity, as if he could outrun the accusation in Sarah's eyes. He left before Lily woke up and came home long after she was asleep. The house became a place of shifts. Sarah and Lily had their life, a quiet orbit of school, homework, and bedtime stories. David had his, a frantic whirlwind of calls and the low hum of his computer bleeding from under his office door. Late into the night, they were living in the same space, but in different time zones. Sarah tried to bridge the gap. She'd leave him dinner in the microwave. In the morning, she'd find the plate untouched, a dirty coffee mug in the sink, its only replacement. She tried to talk to him on Saturday, but he was pacing in the backyard, phone pressed to his ear, gesturing wildly as he negotiated with someone a world away. He was a ghost in their machine, a provider of resources but not of presence. His emotional absenteeism was a tangible thing, a cold spot in the house they all learned to walk around. The recital was next Friday. As the day got closer, a knot of anxiety tightened in Sarah's stomach. She hadn't brought it up again. Neither had David. It was an undetonated bomb between them. Lily, however, hadn't forgotten. She practiced her song relentlessly, her small, clear voice filling the house. The sun'll come out tomorrow. It was a song of hope, but to Sarah, it sounded more like a desperate plea. On Wednesday night, 2 days before the recital, Sarah found Lily on her bedroom floor, surrounded by dresses. "What's all this, sweetie?" Sarah asked. "I don't know what to wear," Lily said, her voice wobbly. "I want Daddy to think I look beautiful on stage." The simple, heartbreaking honesty of it shattered what was left of Sarah's composure. This wasn't about a song anymore. It was about a daughter's primal need to be seen by her father. "Oh, honey," Sarah said, pulling her into a hug. "You are beautiful, no matter what you wear." "But he has to be there to see it," Lily whispered into her shoulder. Is he coming, Mommy?" The question Sarah had been dreading. "I don't know, baby. Daddy's work is very complicated. He said it was important." Lily sniffled. "Is it more important than me?" The question hung in the air, a child's perfect, brutal distillation of their entire problem. It's the message many children of workaholics internalize. You are not important enough. Sarah felt a surge of white-hot anger. Not at Lily, but at David, at his blindness, at the choice he was forcing on their daughter. "No," Sarah said, her voice fierce. "Nothing is more important than you. You listen to me. You're the most important thing in this entire world. Understand?" Lily nodded, wiping her eyes. "Now," Sarah said, her resolve hardening, "let's pick out the most beautiful dress in the world, and on Friday you're going to go on that stage and sing your heart out. For you. Because you are amazing." But even as she said it, she knew it was only half true. Lily wanted to sing for her father. That night, Sarah decided she couldn't let it go. This was the line in the sand. She waited until David finally emerged from his office around midnight. He looked exhausted, his tie loosened, his eyes redrimmed. He walked into the kitchen and poured a glass of water, his back to her. "We need to talk," she said. He sighed, not turning around. "Sarah, I'm exhausted. Can this wait?" "No, it can't. It's about Friday." He finally turned, leaning against the counter. "Look, I already told you. I can't. The flight to New York is at 6 a.m. The presentation is at 10. It's the board. It's everyone. I can't just not show up. Can you reschedule the flight? Come back earlier? The recital is at 7 p.m. You could make it if you tried." "If I tried?" He scoffed, a bitter sound. "You think I'm not trying? I'm killing myself here. Sarah, I'm running on 5 hours of sleep, living on coffee and adrenaline." "For who?" "For you, for Lily, so she can go to the best schools, so you can have this house, so we don't have to worry about every single bill." His voice rose, laced with the anger and guilt of a man stretched too thin. "We are not talking about bills," Sarah shot back, her own voice rising. "We are talking about your daughter. She is on her bedroom floor, crying, asking me if her father's work is more important than she is. What am I supposed to tell her? David, what's the right answer to that?" "That's emotional blackmail," he snapped. "No, it's the truth you refuse to see. You're so obsessed with providing that you've forgotten how to be. With us, you're not a husband or a father anymore. You're a ghost who pays the bills. You're a provider of things, but we are starving for your attention. We are emotionally bankrupt in this mansion of success you're so proud of." Words poured out of her, a torrent of every lonely dinner and every missed bedtime story. "That's insane," he said, shaking his head. "My father worked twice as hard as I do. I barely saw him. He provided. That was his job. And I turned out fine. Did you?" Sarah asked, her voice suddenly quiet. "Are you fine, David? You're anxious all the time. You can't relax for 5 minutes without checking your phone. You have no hobbies, no friends you see anymore. Your whole identity is your job. You're not fine. You're addicted. Workaholism is an addiction, and it's destroying you, and it's destroying us." He stared at her, his face a mix of anger and shock. He opened his mouth to argue, but for a moment, he had no words. I can't win," he finally stammered. "If I work, I'm the bad guy. If I don't, and we lose everything, I'm the bad guy. What do you want from me?" "I want you," she cried, tears finally streaming down her face. "I just want you. Lily just wants you. Present here, not halfway, in a meeting, in another time zone. We would rather live in a smaller house with you in it than this big, empty one with your money. Don't you get that?" The phone on the counter vibrated. A call. His boss's name flashed on the screen. He looked at the phone. He looked at his crying wife. It was a choice. A clear, definitive choice between the two worlds tearing him apart. He let out a shaky breath, his face hardening again, the vulnerability gone. He picked up the phone. "I have to take this," he said, his voice flat, devoid of emotion. He answered the call, turning his back on her. "Yeah, Mark, I'm here. What's up?" Sarah watched the man she married choose his job over her, over their daughter, over everything. He wasn't just emotionally absent anymore, he was gone. The argument was over. He had given her his answer. And in that moment, a terrifying calm descended. The calm of knowing something has irrevocably broken. It's no wonder studies show that risk of divorce is significantly higher in these situations. The strain had finally become a fracture. Friday arrived with a heavy, gray sky that mirrored the mood in the house. David had left before dawn. No note, just an empty space on his side of the bed. Sarah moved through the morning in a fog, her heart a leaden weight in her chest. She had tried to reach him, and he had chosen to walk away. Lily was quiet all day. The excitement for her solo had been replaced by a stoic, heartbreaking resignation. She knew her father wouldn't be there. Children who grow up with emotionally unavailable parents often learn to suppress their own feelings to avoid being dismissed. That evening, as Sarah helped Lily into her beautiful new velvet blue dress, she felt like she was dressing a little soldier for a battle she was destined to lose. "You look like a princess," Sarah said, her voice thick. Lily just nodded at her. Reflection. "I wish Daddy could see." At the school auditorium, the air buzzed with the energy of excited kids and proud parents. Fathers set up tripods. Mothers waved from the audience. The shared family celebration was a knife in Sarah's heart. She found a seat, her stomach churning, feeling profoundly alone. The lights dimmed. The principal walked on stage, and then, "It was time, and now," she announced. "To open our show, please give a warm welcome to Lily Thompson, singing Tomorrow." A single spotlight found Lily at the center of the stage. She looked so small. She clutched the microphone stand, her knuckles white. The opening notes of the piano began. Lily opened her mouth, and the voice that came out was clear, beautiful, and filled with a longing no 8-year-old should possess. The subtle, "Come out, tomorrow." Sarah watched, her heart swelling with pride and aching with sorrow. She scanned the audience, a foolish, desperate part of her, still hoping to see David rush in at the last minute. But there was only an empty space where he should have been. Lily's eyes were scanning the crowd, too. As she sang, her gaze moved systematically across the rows, searching for him, and with every face that wasn't his, a tiny piece of her spirit seemed to break. Her voice, once so strong, began to waver. "So you gotta hang on till tomorrow? Come what may," she faltered on the high note. Her voice cracked. She stopped, silence. The pianist, confused, played the chord again. Lily just stood there, frozen in the spotlight, her eyes wide with panic and brimming with tears. She looked out into the audience, her gaze finally landing on Sarah. Her face crumpled. "I can't," she mouthed, tears streaming down her cheeks. She dropped the microphone. It hit the stage with a loud thud that echoed through the silent auditorium and ran. The audience gasped. Sarah was already on her feet, pushing her way through the row, her face burning with shame, fury, and a bottomless love for her daughter. She found Lily backstage, huddled in a corner, sobbing. Sarah wrapped her arms around her. "It's okay, babe, Mommy's here." "He didn't come." Lily sobbed into her mother's dress. "He didn't come." There was nothing Sarah could say, no excuses left, just the raw, undeniable fact of his absence and the devastation it had caused. The provider had failed to provide the one thing that was priceless. This was the true cost. His daughter, broken-hearted on what should have been her proudest night. Meanwhile, 1,000 miles away, David was finishing his presentation. He clicked to the final slide, showing massive growth. "And that," he said, his voice ringing with confidence, "is how we dominate the market for the next 5 years." The room erupted in applause. His boss, Mark, slapped him on the back. "Incredible, David. Absolutely killed it." David smiled, a wave of relief washing over him. He had done it. He pulled out his phone, expecting a congratulatory text. He saw a string of 17 missed calls from Sarah, and one new text. It was a video. He frowned and tapped on it. The video was shaky, filmed from the audience. He saw Lily, small and beautiful, in her blue dress. He heard the opening notes of her song. His heart constricted. He had completely, utterly forgotten. He watched her sing. He watched her search the crowd. He watched her voice crack. He watched her face crumble. He watched her run. The video ended. He stood there, frozen, in the middle of his greatest professional triumph, a cold dread creeping into his veins. The applause around him faded to a dull roar. He looked at the screen, at the image of his broken daughter, For the first time, he truly saw. He didn't see a successful executive. He saw a failure, a man who had traded his daughter's heart for a round of applause. The justification "I'm doing it for them" crumbled into dust, revealing the ugly truth: he'd been doing it for himself. For the validation, for the addiction to the next win. The arc had reached its climax. The kingdom he was building was a ruin. And he was holding the wrecking ball. He turned and pushed through the celebrating colleagues, his face ashen. Yet, to get home, but he had a sickening feeling that home, the real home he had just destroyed, might not be there when he arrived. The most devastating tragedies are often the quietest ones, happening in living rooms and at dinner tables everywhere. If David's story or Sarah's pain resonates with you, it's because this is a deeply human problem. What do you think is the first step to bridging this divide in a family? Share your thoughts and experiences in the comments. Your insight could be the lifeline someone else needs. And if this story moved you, please like and subscribe. We believe in the power of storytelling to help us understand ourselves and each other better. David's flight back was a blur of every triumphant email, every late-night call, now seemed like a monument to his own selfishness. He walked into his house late that night. It was silent, but it was a different kind of silence. The dead, heavy silence of a place where something has died. Sarah was sitting on the sofa, a blanket wrapped around her shoulders. She wasn't crying. Her eyes were empty, exhausted from fighting a long, losing battle. He stood in the doorway, the architect of this ruin. "Sarah," he began, his voice hoarse. "I saw the video. I am so sorry." She didn't look at him. "Sorry doesn't fix it, David. Sorry doesn't unbreak her heart. Sorry doesn't give her back her moment." "I know," he said, his own voice cracking. "I know. I was wrong. Completely wrong. I lost my way. I thought I was being a good father." "You were being a good employee," she corrected, her voice flat. "You were a great provider. But we are a family, not a business. You manage. Lily isn't a shareholder you need to impress with quarterly returns. She's a little girl who just wanted her daddy to watch her sing. Every word was an arrow, and he deserved every one." He sank to his knees in front of her in complete surrender. "What do I do?" he whispered, his own tears finally coming. "Please, tell me what to do. I'll do anything." Sarah was quiet for a long time. She finally turned to look at him, and he saw the true depth of the chasm between them. "I don't know if you can fix this, David," she said honestly. "I really don't. This isn't about one recital. It's about years of choosing work, of being physically here but emotionally gone. You can't just decide to show up now and expect it to be okay." "I know," he said. "I know it's a process. But I have to start. I'll go to therapy. I'll set boundaries. Mark can fire me. I don't care. I will turn off my phone when I walk through that door. I will be here. I will learn how to be present. I need you to not give up on me. Please." The man who held boardrooms, captive with his confidence, was on his knees, begging to save his family. Sarah looked at him, had the genuine anguish on his face. She thought of the man she had married, the funny, attentive man who existed before the job consumed him. She thought of her daughter, sleeping upstairs, who, despite it all, still loved her father more than anything. She slowly reached out and placed a hand on his head. It wasn't forgiveness. Not yet. It was possibility. The smallest crack of light in the darkness. "You don't have to prove it to me, David," she said, her voice soft but firm. "You have to prove it to her." The next morning, David left his phone on the kitchen counter and went to Lily's room. He sat on the edge of her bed and gently woke her. Her eyes opened, and when she saw him, she flinched, pulling the covers up to her chin. The look on her face, fear, disappointment, mistrust, was the most painful thing he had ever endured. "Hey, Lilybug," he said softly. "Can we talk?" She just stared. "I messed up," he said, the words heavy and real. "Really? Really? Badly. What I did was wrong. There is no excuse. My work is important, but it is not, and will never again be, more important than you. You are the most important thing in my world. And I am so sorry that I made you feel like you weren't." Tears welled up in Lily's eyes. "I failed you," he continued, his own eyes wet, "and I have to earn back your trust. I know that, but I am going to try. Every single day, I'm going to be here for dinner. I'm going to be here to tuck you in. And I promise you, I will never, ever miss you sing again. I will be in the front row of everything you ever do for the rest of your life, cheering louder than anyone. If you'll let me." Lily was quiet for a moment. Then, she slowly lowered the covers. She reached out a small hand and placed it on his cheek. "Okay, Daddy," she whispered. It wasn't a solution. It was a start. The story arc that destroys families is powerful, but it's not always irreversible. The descent is slow. and the climb back is just as slow, requiring humility, commitment, and the painful recognition of what truly matters. The kingdom of success means nothing if it's built on the rubble of the relationships you claim to be. Working for the journey for David, Sarah, and Lily would be long, but for the first time in a very long time, they were all present in the same room, ready to take the first, trembling step together. And that was more valuable than any deal he could ever hope to close.